Tropes podcast, where books and friendships collide. I'm Becca.
And I'm Keri, and we're two friends who love to talk about books. Today, we are talking about chapter 61 through the Epilogue of Powerless by Lauren Roberts. So we're finishing the book today.
Woo! Super excited. Make sure to check our show notes for any trigger warnings.
And we will be spoiling the entire book, so go finish it and then come back. You won't regret it.
It is time for our last one-sentence summaries for Powerless. We are covering chapters 61 through the epilogue. Chapter 61. Callum announces the resistance goals as Peyton meets cruel green eyes and Kai erupts in flames.
Chapter 62. As shocked Kai tries to put the pieces together, what's happening as he fights the silencer with their own silencing abilities.
Chapter 63. Kai fights against the resistance and Peyton runs away to the palace, where she fools the Imperials into letting her into the palace before she meets the cruel king on the way out.
Chapter 64. Kai uses his fighting skills with the Ordinaries who are attempting to flee and notices that his brother is not acting normal. He's never this brutal.
Chapter 65. Peyton and the king fight where he makes his mark on her, drops some important knowledge, and she kills him with his silver dagger.
Chapter 66. Kai has pieced together what Peyton has done and is unable to hurt Peyton, and instead tells her to run because when he sees her next time, he will be able to finish the job.
Chapter 67. Kai questions if anything within his situationship with Peyton was real and has the weight of the world on his shoulders.
Chapter 68. Peyton runs, but not before she is mocked by the same type of flowers that Kai gave her just the night before.
Epilogue. Kit ordered Kai to find and bring him Peyton Gray.
Dun dun dun. Woo. So many
things happened.
Yeah.
Actually, it's not even that so many things happened. It's that we learned so much information.
That's true. Because really, like when I was doing the chapter summaries, I forgot how little happened. Like so much more happened 10 chapters before. So I love that. So we have no meet cutes. So let's just dive right into quotables.
Yep. So as a reminder, our quotables are basically where we highlight quotes or parts that we just want to talk about because we like them or we hate them. It depends.
That's a good point. So chapter 61, the resistant. So grief and rage has absolutely filled Peyton, and she sees that not only did they bring Adina here to be murdered, they had tortured her, and Peyton is like all of them. Pissed. And even though she rightfully puts her anger onto Blair, she remembers who is responsible for the grief that she holds, the king. She has this quote that says, "This man has taken everything from me. This king has killed the only family I've ever known. First my father, and now Adina." Just so heartbreaking.
So heartbreaking.
Now, are we gonna have a found family trope in Reckless? This is one of my questions in Reckless.
What a good question.
I'm just saying. I hope so. She needs a family. Because I don't trust the resistance. And Kai's in his feels right now, so understandably. Poor Kai. So, as the resistance makes their way into the bowl, we get another powerless quote. For once in their life, elites feel truly powerless. And so we also get this intense quote that just signified what type of kit we're going to get in the future, too. I'm so nervous. But it says, "Because when his gaze pierces mine, I don't see him. I see his father. The future king knows this was my doing."
Yeah. He put the pieces together so quickly.
So fast. He's not a dummy boy.
No.
Smart boy.
He is a smart boy.
Poor Kit. I can't imagine how, like, betrayed and hurt and, like, mad at himself he felt.
I know. But like we talked about before, it was kind of his fault because he was not careful of his audience. But at the same time, yeah.
Anyways, I think this quote specifically is when she's thinking, like, Kit is being called the future king. And he's been called the future king this entire book. So this really hit for me. And I was like, oh, I think he's going to be the future king sooner rather than later. I don't know. It just, like, really stood out to me.
Okay.
And I don't know why. Because I didn't know that the king was gonna die. But I'm glad he did. It was strange how much they kept saying the future king, and then now he is the future king.
Now he is the king.
And Kai's the future enforcer, but now he is the enforcer. So,
which is debatable that he was ever the future enforcer.
oh yeah, 100%. He's always been his dad's enforcer.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah. So later on in chapter 61, we get Callum's. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
Callum. I'm struggling with pronouncing words today. But we get his speech to the people where he gives the very empowering speech, which like gave me such President Coin vibe. Like Panem today or whatever. I think that's no, but you know, whatever. We all know that one scene in Mockingjay. So where she's like
when
giving
she's
all
like
her speeches.
addressing, yeah,
All the things. She was the queen of speeches.
She was not good at them.
No.
She gave him a lot.
Yeah. But he says, "We are your king's most deadly secret, his dirtiest secret. We are ordinaries. We are fatals. We are the resistance." Which gave me chills. But then immediately I was really mad because they didn't tell Peyton that they were going to kill the princes if the king did not relent. So I'm feeling like, yeah, the resistance. Let's go. And then I'm like, no. We're definitely getting President Coin vibes here because something sketchy's going on. Like, if they're going to betray that trust immediately, make me nervous.
Yeah, it was interesting because, like, Peyton kept saying in her inner monologue here, like, why aren't you telling them about the lies that the healers told? Why aren't you telling them about the lies or whatever? And I don't know why he didn't, like, I don't know why that wasn't the case. But it's very interesting that that was not something that was said. It was just like, hey, your king has a dirty secret. So
And I
don't
told
know.
you this plan wasn't a good plan.
You
It's
did.
never a good plan. It's a
You
bad
told
plan.
me.
So bad. And it came back to bite them.
It
So
did.
mad at them. There's like no
Yep.
resistance members left that we know of at this point. But bad vibes from the resistance and the Ilya President Callum. We're gonna call him President Coin.
Oh,
President Callum. Yeah. We're just gonna give him a president. Since we have kings in this world, we can call him a president.
Beautiful. I love it.
Boom. Okay. Let's move on to chapters 62 through 64. I just entitled this All the Things Are Happening. Well, we learn all the things. Anyways, so Kai is feeling powerless, but that's not a quote. I had no other word, and it worked perfectly. So he's feeling powerless from his silencer, the silencer that's attacking him. But because he has been training so much with, I think it was Malachi, he knows, no, that was the guy that he killed. The silencer
Nope.
that he killed.
Malachi is his name.
That's his name. Wow. Whatever his name was.
I think, is it Damien?
Something
Maybe.
like that. Yeah.
Something like that.
Anyways, he's unimportant, but Kai has been practicing with him, so he is able, while he hasn't been able to beat a silencer in his training, he is able to do so with the silencer here. So we get to learn that about silencers, that they're only able to be, I guess, fought against with their own ability.
So only a silencer can beat a silencer.
Yes. Thankfully for Kai, he can grab anyone's ability. Lucky for him. But when Kai is consumed in flames, this really confused me at first because I couldn't imagine it. Like in my head, I was just seeing these fake CGI flames or something, and I don't know. My brain wasn't comprehending.
Okay.
So at first I thought that meant he died or something because the chapter ends with and then I think Peyton's chapter is I see Kai consumed in flames or something. And I'm like, oh my gosh, is he dying? So immediately flipped to the next page, but he wasn't dead, obviously, because it was his POV. I don't know why I was nervous about that. because I was like, oh my gosh, no, Kai. And I was about to like message Lauren Roberts directly and be like, excuse me, Missy. But no, she didn't kill him. Thank you.
Yes.
But it was like, I thought he was potentially dead, and I was like, no, this is not good. We have 2 more books. You can't be doing this. But is the flame consumption or like bursting into flames, like what happens to silencers when they themselves are silenced? Is that what we learn from that?
No. So, no. So silencers silence powers. They smother powers, but Kai was using Kit's power of the dual fire and water power to like burn them.
Mm.
So Kai bursting into flames, and this is how I thought of it, is like it's like Jack Jack in The Incredibles. He just like burns into flames and he is like he just erupts into flames, and the silencer is the babysitter who's like calling Mr. and Mrs. Incredible and Elastigirl and saying like something's wrong with their baby. Like that's kind of how I thought of this. So the silencers bursting into flames is Kai using Kit's dual fire and water power to basically set them on fire rather than like the silencer power makes them catch on fire.
Okay, that makes more sense.
Yes. The other thing here that Kai thinks is, quote, but if there are as many ordinaries living among us as he says, then why have we not felt the effects, the loss of power? And I loved this little piece of it because Kai is like the only person who's putting these pieces together of like, well, if they've been living among us for so long, then like what's going on? Like, why aren't we feeling any effects of it? Why are we not getting sick? Like his wheels are just spinning so much, and I really appreciated that we got that. It wasn't just like an anger thing, and I think we get this with when Kai sees Adina as the criminal too, is like he's like, she doesn't belong here. She's not a criminal, like she's Adina. And here we get this questioning of, well, if there are that many ordinaries, like what's actually going on? And I really appreciate that because to me, like this is a very show don't tell of how intelligent and smart Kai is versus how he perceives himself of just being like the hired hand or the monster that doesn't get the beauty, right? Like he's not just a monster. He's clearly articulating and thinking through the things that he's thinking through when he has the opportunity.
Yeah. And I like that he's coming to this conclusion before being able to talk to Peyton. Like, I don't know if this happens in Reckless, but like, if he were to like come to the realization before having the conversation with Peyton about what's really going on, it makes it more impactful. Like, I think it'll be longer lasting because it's not just for a girl that he's thinking of this. It's because he's putting the pieces together himself. So I like that. I like that part of it too. Because of that, because Kai is coming it to it himself, because then seeing how bad his dad was and everything.
Yeah, a really good point.
Moving on, we have to talk about Adia a little bit. So as Peyton's like running away, she's like trying to bring Adina, which is so sad. Like she wants to go and bury her somewhere and she wants to bring her with her, and just can't. And that just like broke my heart because she wasn't able to be there and like bury her father. So she wants like that closure, but obviously it's smarter for her. I was yelling at her like, get out of there, girl, get out of there. Like it's not safe. Go, just leave her.
Yeah.
But she's having this like terrible deja vu moment where she realizes that she's like run after both her father's death and Adina's. And she's like, our girl's traumatized. So even though their deaths are completely different, she herself is thinking that she's reacting the same way, but the circumstances are completely different. So her dad is like running, she's like ran away because like she didn't understand what was happening, like, you know, all those things. But then with Adina specifically, she's running for her life. Like she is running so that she doesn't die. And like, because Adina is like surrounded by chaos in my mind. Like you have Adina and Peyton, just like Peyton mourning over Adina, and then you have all this chaos, kind of like in Pirates of the Caribbean when like Will and Elizabeth are getting married and there's like chaos everywhere. Have you not seen the third movie? The best scene in cinematic history. Anyway, when I was growing up, my sister and I would watch this, and they would go and they would kiss, and there's just like everyone's fighting and chaos is happening, and we would just lean back and go, oh.
I love that.
Anyway, that's kind of what I was seeing in my mind, except a lot more sad.
Okay.
Because obviously Adina, but like chaos and everything's like crazy, but she obviously has to get away to save her life.
Yeah. Well, I think even like Peyton thinks it's the same, but it kind of is the same because the king killed both of them, right?
Yeah.
But he killed both of them because of Peyton, and I don't think that that's something that Peyton realizes in this situation because like the king killed her father because she was an ordinary and killed Adina because she was an ordinary. So it's like one of those things that like I don't know. It's very similar in the manner, but I love what you just said with like the manner of deaths are very similar, but her reasoning behind running was what separates them completely.
Because she's like focusing on that she's being a coward when she's really not. She's just trying to save her life. And like
she's just trying to survive.
Yeah. So that made me really sad. I was like, girl, we need to put you in some therapy and work through all this because this is a lot.
Yes.
This is a lot.
It is a lot.
But we also get another powerless word. So when she's talking about having this desire, like before she's running away, she has this desire to stay and fight with the resistance, but she realizes that she can't. Like she's still really injured at this point, and like we can't forget that. So she says powerless in every sense of the word. So she's just feeling utterly powerless. And we got that from her. Yay. But then Peyton remembers her promise to get the vest Adina made. And I feel like there's something secretly special about this vest. And I know we have had this vest since chapter 1, but I feel like this is going to be something I need to remember for Reckless and like something that's super important to the story later. I don't know what Adina did, but I know it's going to, like, there was a reason she wanted her to get that vest. So,
interesting. Okay.
I want to keep that in mind. And any of our listeners who want to keep that in mind, who haven't read Reckless yet, Becca has, so she has to put on her best poker face. So she runs as she goes to escape after she's like, I love that she got to go see like a healer and like get healed. Like, good job, girl. Thinking ahead. And as she goes to escape, she runs into the king who is just completely alone, which I found really strange, but I wasn't mad about it. So, of course, she takes advantage of this, and we get to learn a lot of info from the king. And if I missed any, feel free to let me know. But first, he has known that she's an ordinary, so he's known for a really long time. And he knew that her father was a part of the resistance and knew many things about him. He killed Adina because she wouldn't stay away from the princes despite his warnings, is what he said. But like you said, I think it was because she's an ordinary, but also Peyton made his enforcer look weak because she's just a girl. And Kai didn't know this, but she's just an ordinary girl. So double whammy. And then we get these quotes where the king says, you forget what you are, slummer, an ordinary doomed to die. You are nothing. And this was very Moulin Rouge. It is right before we get a Roxanne. So I read that and I was like, when's Roxanne gonna start playing? I just wanted to cry.
And I thought that was at the end of Roxanne.
Oh, maybe.
Because it's what's her name?
Satine.
Satine. She's talking to you mean nothing to me. You.
Yeah, I think it is at the end. Well, still. I was like, where's Where's Aaron Tveit? I need Malachi to come out and just like start singing.
Okay, how do we feel about Aaron Tveit being Malachi?
I don't think he's tall enough or young enough.
That's true.
In my mind, Kai's really tall.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
And I'm going to say something completely off topic. If
Please do.
anyone dares to fan cast Kai as Timothy Chalamet or chooses Timothy Chalamet as Kai, I will fight you. We will have word. That's all.
Okay. For our listeners, I got a 2.5 minute voice memo from Keri 2 nights ago about how somebody fan cast Timothy Chalamet as Kai, and I heard about it for 2.5 minutes. Now, I wholeheartedly agree, but I think Keri will fight you.
Yeah.
If you have a recommendation for who you think Kai could be as a fan cast, please let us know. We have been racking our brains trying to figure out who we would put in, and we just cannot figure it out.
No one's like good enough, I think.
There's got to be somebody who's good enough.
You know who I would cast as Peyton though, since we're both watching My Lady Jane right now?
Yes. The girl who plays Jane?
Either her or her maid. The one who goes into a hawk.
Oh, I don't think the maid would be a good one.
Or no, sorry, not the maid. Not the maid. The dog. The king's dog.
Yes.
It was the king's dog, sorry. I was thinking in the market scene in episode 2. I was like,
yeah,
she could be Peyton.
Yes, she could be.
She seems like she has like the
sass. Oh, that's a good one, Keri.
Yeah, it hit me. I'm watching for all fan casting.
Okay. I love it.
We can let Lauren Roberts know and be like, "Hello, miss. Please put these individuals."
Okay. So I saw an interview with Lauren Roberts who said that she does not have anybody in mind for Kai yet. She has a Kit, kind of, but she doesn't have a Kai yet. So
what did she say for Kit again?
Nick Galzatine. He's the guy in The Idea of You, I think, with Anne Hathaway. He's a Purple Hearts.
I disagree with that, Lauren, but
I disagree with that too. But yep, it is her book.
It's her book, but I don't agree.
Correct.
I also don't really like him as an actor. I could see
the
guy.
Seen him.
Sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say I haven't seen him in Red, White, and Royal Blue. I liked him in Purple Hearts, but I don't think what he played in Purple Hearts. Like, have you seen that movie? I don't think what he played in Purple Hearts how he played the guy that he played in Purple Hearts would be good for Kit.
Yeah.
Also needs to be like blonde.
Yeah.
With like the almost hair.
Let's see. His co-actor in Red, White, and Royal Blue. Let me see. Look at that. Taylor
Perez. I just had a revelation. Have you watched nope, not Stranger Things. Outer Banks.
I haven't. I'll look it up. Who are you thinking of?
It's John B from Outer Banks. He could be a Kit. Or JJ. I could see JJ being Outer Banks. Or from Outer Banks.
John B.
Kit. Hold on. John B. He's the guy. Yeah.
See him being a Kit?
He's currently dating Kelsey Ballerini, I think. His name is Chase Stokes.
Who did she say for the other one in Outer Banks?
JJ. Hi, Chase Stokes. Yeah, I think is it Kelsey Ballerini?
I could see either of those playing Kit for sure. I would say, honestly, JJ, I think, better.
I could
but I haven't. These are just like the quick pictures I'm looking at, so I would have to watch them.
You need to watch Outer Banks.
Okay, I'll add it to my list.
You can't Kit. That screams Kit to me.
Which one's that?
This is
Chase?
Chase, yeah, Chase Stokes.
Yeah, that does look like Kit. Yeah, I could see that being Kit.
Because I think he has the range to be a gentleman Kit, and then be the bring me Peyton Gray enforcer Kit too. I think he could play both.
He could.
Chase Stokes, if you're out there and want to play Kit for us, not for us, whatever
For the readers.
the who whatever it's not a publishing company. What is it? Makers. If you want to audition for Kit,
please do.
Please do. We think he's great.
He's what, 20?
And he's tall.
I just need to watch Outer Banks, I guess.
You do need to watch Outer Banks.
See, the problem with fan casting for me is I don't really watch enough TV to know who's like out there anymore. I need to watch more TV.
I'm trying to think who could be Kai. I cannot think. You're trying to watch more TV?
I should.
No, you shouldn't. TV
there's so
is
many
bad
good...
for you.
No, there's so many good shows out there right now.
Outer Banks.
I need to finish The Crown.
You have so many things going right now. You have The Crown. You have Friends. My Lady Jane.
When Diana died, I couldn't finish it. It was too sad. I had to be in a specific emotional state.
I don't think I've even gotten through season 1 yet of The Crown.
It is harder to get through. I will say, like, more documentary feeling sometimes.
But yeah, so you have Friends, you have The Crown, you have My Lady Jane, you have, what was the other one you just said? Outer Banks.
Yeah, I need to watch Outer Banks. I'll add that to my Netflix list.
It's like National Treasure with... Have you seen Teen Beach Movie? Harry, you haven't seen Teen Beach Movie?
No. I'm getting your shocked faces so delayed. It's wonderful.
Okay, well, that's not gonna work, really. Well, I don't know. It's like a teen National Treasure, but that makes it sound really cheesy. It is a little cheesy, but it's so good. 10 out of 10. You need to watch it. All of our listeners, if you're gonna spam us about anything, spam us about Keri watching Outer Banks and fan casting. Let us know who you want your fan cast to be.
I need more actors in my head. I watch a lot of British films. Old ones, so they're all like older. So I can't think. You know who might...
Keri's so cultured.
No, I'm not. That was not a like brag. It was just like I watched the same movies over and over.
So proud of
who might work?
Who?
What's his name? Oh my gosh. Hold on. Why can't I remember his name? I love him. Henry Cavill, a young Henry Cavill.
For Kai?
Mm-hmm.
I think he's too old.
He'd have to be younger. It'd have to be a young Henry Cavill.
Yeah.
If we could find a lookalike.
The problem is the actor who plays Kai is probably going to have to be younger than us. That's our problem.
Because I'm not going to think a guy that young is a...
I think Chase Stokes is our winner for Kit. Or Kai. I think he could play Kai too. If he dyed his hair dark.
For sure. Good job.
Well,
we found our Kit and we found our Peyton.
Who's our Peyton again?
Either Lady or Jane from Lady Jane, or
yes,
the dog, the king's dog girl.
Yes. And I think I haven't paid attention to the...
You're back.
Oh, good. I haven't paid attention to the dog girls as much, but I think the girl who plays Lady Jane has really big eyes. So, and I can't remember if they're blue or not, but she can wear colored contacts. But like that would be a great thing.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna have a Shailene Woodley situation on our hands again, where she's in everything. But she's good, so it's
Yeah.
good time.
Yeah.
I feel like Shailene Woodley was just so
She was in too much.
saturated. And it was so much so together.
Yeah. It's like Ryan Reynolds and Chris Pratt. They're in everything.
Yeah. I like Chris
Especially Chris
Pratt.
Pratt. I'm
Do you not
over
like
him.
Pratt?
I'm over it. He's in everything. He should not have voiced Mario. I'm mad about that.
Yeah, I would agree. I'm not as passionate about that as you are, apparently, but I don't know.
But
I like Chris Pratt.
I like him in Parks and Rec.
We're watching Parks and Rec right now, and we're right. I just finished the episode where it's April's birthday, and he writes about the song about November instead of April.
Oh, I love him. The
Andy
best.
Dwyer, 10 out of 10.
He's so funny.
Oh man. Okay, do we want to go back to that?
Yes, we have gone on a lot of tangents, but that's okay.
That was, yeah.
Anyways, so after he says you are nothing, he tries to kill her. So that's not good for our girl.
Yes.
But during this, Kai is fighting off the ordinaries in the resistance, and he finds that it feels wrong to fight an ordinary in an extraordinary way, he says. And I thought that was really just telling of his character. Like, he could really be done with them in a flash, like make it easy, but he wants to fight them in a fair fight. So I like that. And then he sees his brother and he says, something isn't right. I've never seen my brother like this before. So bloodthirsty, so brutal. Usually those words are reserved for me, the future enforcer, and not Kit, the kind and caring future king. But right now he looks enraged, feral in a way I've never seen before. So this, I love that we got to see Kit's anger from Kai's point of view. Like, Kai doesn't fully understand yet why he's so mad. And we, as readers, we get to understand the reason for this incredibly deep anger. So I really loved that point. Like, we got to see it from Kai's POV, and Kai is just like trying to piece together what the crap. Why are you so mad? Like, I get this sucks, but like, why are you this mad?
Yeah.
But then the resistance tries to escape, and he says he will follow them. So, through chapter 64.
Yep. So now I have all I could say was the end because there was so much that happened. But this is chapter 65 through the epilogue. So we switch back to Peyton and the king fighting, and she's having a really hard time here coming to grips with what she's needing to do to get out of this alive. Like, the king is in this and he's trying to kill her, like, no doubt. And she's just trying to get away. But as the fight continues to go on, she gets this mindset of, oh, I'm going to have to kill him to get away, which is just really sad. But before she does that, the king starts talking a lot. So we get even more information than Keri, what you just outlined. And there are some things I want to highlight and what I have questions on. So, number 1, we get, quote, yes, well, a friend told me of his intentions and this resistance he was part of, so I did what I had to do. So this comes from the king when she's like, you killed my dad. Like, why did you kill my dad, basically? And this is the king's response. So I want to know, who was this friend that told him of the intentions? Do we know who this friend is? Do we know this person already? Or is it just like an advisor that we're never intended to know?
That's a good point. I didn't even catch that.
Like, that was a throwaway line that I don't think was a throwaway line. So
we've been scarred too much by Rebecca.
We have. Okay, so number 2, we get this admission from the king. It says, quote, no city is like Ilya, no people like my elites, and I intend to keep it that way. So we've kind of talked about this before, but are there other cities? Will we see other groups of people in Reckless and Fearless now that we know that it's Fearless? Will the map of Ilya adjust and grow as we go through the rest of the series? So right now we really just have the map at the front is just the map of Ilya. But will we get more cities as we go through the series?
I hope so, especially since, like, Kai has like allowed the children to be banished instead of murdered. So I hope that they're just like safe and chilling, and maybe that's where Peyton finds her refuge.
Yeah, that's a good point. Number 3, we get, quote, "It's survival of the fittest and the fittest are elites." And that, again, that comes from the king. But I don't know if this is necessarily true. Peyton and Ordinary survived all 3 trials when not all elites in the trials survived. And these trials were intended to basically show off the elite powers that everybody has. So the fittest aren't necessarily elites because Peyton is an ordinary against the top of the top elites, and she's still alive. I also want to point out that we lost Sadie because of Kai and Peyton, but mostly Kai, but we're going to give that to Peyton. We lost Hera, who was an elite because of Braxton. We lost Ace, who was Peyton and Kai, but mostly Peyton. And by my logic, that means that Peyton is the most survivaled, even though I know that's not a word, and the most deadly along with Kai in the trials. So like that's just like I just don't think this is completely accurate. Question though. Do you think that Blair would have ever used her power against Kai in the trials?
Ooh. I don't know.
I don't know either.
I don't know if her like desire to win would overtake her like desire for so
Yep.
I feel like if the winner got to marry Kit or something, she would definitely use her powers against Kai.
Okay. I feel like Kai would not be competing then.
Well, no, but you're right. That doesn't make a lot of sense. But if like the stakes were like that, like where she could be elevated in power, I think it would.
Yeah, if she could be like queen. Or like the winner of the trials became the next ruler or something. Yeah.
I definitely could see her doing that, but I don't know. She really does like Kai. Well, she likes the idea of Kai and Kit.
Yes, exactly. The king brands her with an O for ordinary, and that was very confusing to me because when I was reading through and I was like, the brand, like he's branding her so you'll know like who it was. My thought was he was like writing his name on her heart. And I was like, I don't even really remember if we get his name. What is his name? And then like I read a little bit further and I was like, oh, he gave her an O for ordinary. But that was just kind of sad. And then we get quote from Peyton. "I crawl, pain and adrenaline mixing to create a dangerous concoction of recklessness." So we get another reckless quote.
Hey.
Now, this reckless is towards the king. Now, I'm willing to die on this hill, so I'm gonna take you on a little bit of a journey to show you where my head's at. So this reckless is towards the current king, right? But in the action that she is doing now, which is killing the current king, she is making Kit the king here. So she's killing his father, making Kit the king. So doing something reckless that is directly impacting Kit's life for the rest of his life and his trajectory of him coming to power. So even though this recklessness is tied to the former king, it's tied directly to Kit. Every other reckless mention in this book has been tied directly to Kit. So, something to think about.
Oh.
I'm willing to die on this hill that reckless is relating to Kit every time she thinks or says it. So, that's
Interesting.
The other option, which is probably the more logical option, even though I think I brought y'all with me. The other option is that this is setting up for Reckless, the book, which we obviously know is happening, and this is probably the more likely option or more likely choice in this specific scenario. But again, I am willing to die on this hill that every Reckless mention is relating to Kai. Or, I'm sorry, to Kit. So,
to Kit, yeah. Well, we have Powerless has been more Kai, Reckless being more Kit. Maybe Fearless is going to be more Peyton.
Ooh, that's a good one.
I mean, we're getting that Powerless term from her too. in this book, but not as often as Kai.
That's true.
So it could be. True. I guess we'll see. I'll know what I know.
Yes.
When I read Reckless.
Yes. So we learn about Kai's first kill being Peyton's father. Keri, did you see this coming at all?
I didn't. I wasn't shocked by it, but I didn't see it coming.
Okay. I would agree, but this is what like made me cry. We get this quote, "The boy who taught me how to dance healed my wounds and asked me my favorite color under the stars." And that's like how Peyton thinks about him. And then now she's having to totally like rethink and reconnect those wires in her brain. Now, I wanted to talk a little bit here because as soon as the king tells Peyton about this, her memory of the event of her father's death becomes very fuzzy. And this is a real thing that happens like in real life because eyewitnesses in like trials or something like that are notably unreliable, and people like having eyewitnesses, like prosecutors like having eyewitnesses, but they're very, very easy to become unreliable very, very quickly. Mm-hmm. Our memory is a very interesting thing as we're like, I don't know. It's just, you can like plant people's memories. It's very, very interesting. If you want to hear more about it, I would love to dig into this. I'll give you a research podcast episode on it. But that I just wanted to point out that like, yes, this is a fantasy book, but this is something that happens in real life on a regular basis too. So then Peyton kills the king and she feels like crying, but she isn't sure why. Now, I have a note to Peyton. Girl, you just killed someone in cold blood. Now, there's a potential for the self-defense argument here, but you just straight up killed somebody. Of course you're going to feel like crying. And Keri, you asked me last episode why she didn't kill Blair. And I think this is a huge part of it. So for the king to be her first kill, I think is more impactful for her character development, but also more impactful for the parallels between her and Kai in that his first kill was her father and her first kill was his. So for lack of better words, Blair was just like a really mean girl that we didn't like. And even though we all hated her, if Peyton had killed Blair, we wouldn't have that development. We wouldn't have the amazing parallels between the two. And I just think that even though, like, basically what happened is Kai was a pawn for the king, but inadvertently Peyton was a pawn for her father too. So it was like we're getting these parallels, and I think had Blair been her first kill, we wouldn't have gotten this development, but also the parallels, but also like the reality of the situation. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So, a great point. I still wish she would have killed her.
Oh, me too. I wish Blair was dead, but I understand why she didn't, I guess.
She was like the Regina George of the...
Yes. I literally put that in my notes and I was like, I can't put that in here.
Well, I did. I didn't put it in my notes. I just said it.
I love it. So the sight catches Peyton and then she's running and Kai throws a dagger at her and misses. And we get like, she turns around and sees Kai and she's like debating in her mind. And we get this quote, "But that doesn't make him any less of a murderer." And this is so true. I think this was such a gut punch when I read it for the first time because it is true. I mean, no matter how much we love Kai or how much of a tortured soul he is or what a great book boyfriend he is to Peyton, he is still a murderer. And I think that's something that Peyton realizes here and that we also realize here too, is like he still killed people. And not that she didn't know it before, but this like solidified it in her brain. Yeah. Now, I think Peyton in this situation also is a murderer if we're going to get real technical because she just murdered his dad. So it's one of those things like she is a murderer. It's a pot calling the kettle black, but it still is the truth of the matter that like Kai is a murderer, and we have to remember that.
You don't want
Now,
to.
I know, I know, trust me, I know. Now I think everybody who is listening to the sound of my voice right now should go listen to this chapter from the audiobook because it was so good. I don't even think I can do it justice talking through it. But basically, Kai tells Peyton she needs to run, and she runs and doesn't look back. And that's all I'm going to say because I don't even want to try because
That
the
quote
audiobook
is
is just so good.
It's so good. That quote was literally my favorite quote that we'll post later.
Which quote was it?
The like run,
Oh,
run
yes.
Peyton, because when I catch you, da da da. I'm
Yep.
not even gonna try it either because the guy who does Kai's voice is amazing. So
Yes.
I'm not even gonna try.
So then we get Kai's POV, and I want to talk about something that I love when authors do. And Lauren Roberts wrote, quote, "I let her go. I let her go." And we get the same sentence both times. One is not in italics and one is in italics. And from this, we can see the progressions of his thoughts from a statement of "I let her go" to all the feelings of "I let her go." And I think that's not just I let the person who murdered my father go. It's the I let the potential love of my life go. I let the person who is changing history go. I let this ordinary that I've been branded or that I've been like taught to hate go. And it's all of those feelings all in one. And we get to see that I let her go to, oh my gosh, heartbroken. I just let her go. And I love when authors do that. It's so good. I eat it up every time.
Yes. It's like all these feelings you get to like work through while he's working through it just because they put little italics. And it's like,
Yes.
oh my gosh, there's so much and I let her go. Like, holy crap.
So much.
So good.
I eat it up every time.
Every time. So good. I love that when he's like thinking through this about how he's like letting her go and he's like I didn't act like the one thing I was born to be. I didn't act like the murderer I've been molded into. So I think right now he's like realizing maybe he's not like the monster that he thinks he is. And he's
Yeah.
working through what that means and like the consequences of that.
Yes.
Interesting stuff.
Very interesting. So we also see very quickly that Pei is not the only one who thinks Kit's eyes look like the king. So we get a quote from Kai saying, quote, "I reach out with trembling fingers and close them, unable to stand seeing Kit's eyes so lifeless." He's heartbroken and he's questioning and he's trying to understand and he's dismayed. And we get, quote, "The title of enforcer has never weighed so heavily on my shoulders. I'll have to go find her." And it's like this resignation of this is who I am. This is who she is. This is like, there is no other next step. And it's that continuation of the I let her go. Now I'm going to have to go find her.
Yeah, like just because he let her go doesn't mean like his job's over.
Exactly. Deep breaths. Okay.
He needs a hug.
He's a mess. I'm going to use that quote from you because that is like now what I think of. He's a mess.
He's a mess.
So at the same time, Peyton runs away and is recounting all of the things between her and Kai and grieving what they had. Like we get all of these quotes of like the parallels and the like what's the quote? The "what have you done to me, Pei?" or the
that was so heartbreaking.
I literally just got goosebumps talking about it. I was like, like so much. So she's running through all of this, like trying to figure it out. And um this is the moment when I dubbed Lauren Roberts the Queen of Parallels. And she will forever in my mind be known as the Queen of Parallels because the opening line, chapter 1 of this book, the opening line is, quote, "Thick hot liquid runs down my arms, blood."
Mm-hmm.
And remember, this is when she was climbing up the chimney, and she had the sticky buns in her vest, in her pockets. And she's like, oh, I think it's blood, but it actually ended up being honey. And the last line of this book, before the epilogue, which I don't really count the epilogue as being part of the book, but that's a whole other conversation. Maybe that's between the lines.
Between the lines, for sure.
But the last line of this book is, quote, thick, hot liquid runs down my brand, my body, my very being. Honey. That's what I tell myself. It's just honey.
Mm-hmm.
The
parallels are paralleling.
Oh my gosh. Chef's kiss.
Chef's kiss. That whole I feel like the whole last chapter was just full of like parallels.
Yeah, it was you didn't see them coming, which I think is just, there was like very clear parallels, like that one, or the what have you done to me pay, like that was very clearly pointed out. But even like the first kill situation, I don't know. Queen of parallels. So the epilogue was so hard for me to read, though, if I'm being honest, because I loved that we finally got Kit's POV, but I hate that we got him being the king with Kai being his enforcer. This is 3 days after the events of the end of the book, and he is grieving. He's grieving he's not just grieving his father, he's grieving his mother, his relationship with Peyton, his relationship with Kai, and who he was before. And we get, quote, kind Kit doesn't act crazed. Kind Kit is caring, not a killer. Kind Kit has changed. Keri, you said a couple episodes ago that you were afraid of Kit doing whatever it takes to make his father proud. And we get almost an exact quote here of, quote, I'm still doing whatever it takes to make him proud. And like, I read that for the second time and I was like, oh my gosh, Keri, like you called it. You literally called it, like word for word.
Yeah. And now he's like an orphan, which I thought was really sad that he like was coming to that conclusion.
Yeah.
And now he's even more determined to like make his father's legacy worth it.
Yeah.
Which I hate. Yep. Because it's not a good one. Not a good. When I think when they're talking about Peyton, this part comes in. But Kit realizes, he says, and there goes Kai's mask. So we get like, first, I think at the beginning of the epilogue, he notes that Kai has his mask on and he's like keeping himself very like cool, calm, and collected in front of Kit. And then Kai's mask immediately slips and floods his face when Peyton is brought up. And you can just tell that he's still working through all those feelings. Yeah. And I cannot wait for the little angry yelling match we'll probably get, hopefully, from Peyton and Kai eventually. I hope.
Okay.
I hope we get that in Reckless. I need them to yell at each other and be angsty.
Yes.
Just so they can make up.
Yeah. We'll see. You'll know when you know.
I know.
Okay, and then Kit gives Kai his first mission. Another parallel here. Peyton's father was Kai's first mission from the old king, and Peyton herself is the first mission from the new king.
Ugh.
So I have so much more I want to say here, to be totally honest. I could probably go on for another 30, but I'm not going to subject you all to that. So that is the end of Powerless.
Yeah, Becca, I'm really glad that you had a lot to say because I just had all the emotions, but like no words.
Yeah.
I've read the book, I listened to the audiobook, I've had a week to process, and I still have no words.
Yeah,
what have you done to me, Lauren Roberts? Parallel.
Yeah, literally.
Okay, so for Tomes and Tonics, we're going to be doing a kind of varied, we're going to focus on our three main characters. So we have Kai, Kit, and Peyton. So we're just basically going to choose drinks, either the same ones that we chose from episode 1, or making a new drink for them based on what we know now about their character and their personalities, what they like, what they don't like, as well as maybe how their personality has changed now that for Kit, now that he's a king. So
Okay.
for Kai, I did coffee with a Cinnabon creamer.
Okay.
I did this. I didn't specify what ice or hot. I think it would depend on the day for him. But I said Cinnabon creamer because I think it'd go well with a sticky bun.
Ooh, good one.
What'd you put?
I said a caramel vanilla swirl iced coffee
Ooh.
because I think I think my original one was like black coffee or something like that. But I think he still wants the coffee, but I think he's like sweetened up a little bit
I like that.
over the course of the book. Oh,
That's cute.
yeah.
For Kit, I chose a black coffee with caramel and cream. I don't remember what I put for him in the first, but I think I chose like I said black coffee. It's not even black if there's caramel and cream in it. I would get mad at somebody for saying that. But I feel like I remember why I did this. I did this very late at night last night. I think I would for the black coffee, I think he would on days he really needs his coffee, he would just do it black. But then I think sometimes he would do like caramel and cream. That's where I was going with that.
Interesting. Okay, I kind of took a similar approach, but a little bit different.
Okay.
So I said a chocolate cream cold brew. And I think it's because he's punishing himself and he doesn't really like it, but he needs that little bit of sweet to actually drink his coffee, but he still needs caffeine. And I don't remember what I said for Kit originally either, but he still needs the caffeine to keep going, but he needs that little bit of sweetness, but not enough. Like it's not enough for him to actually enjoy it, just enough for him to like get it down.
Yeah. Oh, for Kit, I said an ice black tea lemonade, unsweetened. That tracks. Peyton, I said a cold brew iced coffee or a strawberry refresher. You said a blueberry lemonade from Wendy's. I remember that one. Actually, that's what I put for Peyton.
Yep. I was a little mad that you stole it, but it's fine. Why did you say a blueberry lemonade?
Because we learned she liked blueberries.
Oh, that's right.
I would say, even if I don't know if she would want that much sweetness, I think she also would like a blueberry like seltzer water or something.
Okay. I like that.
What'd you put for Peyton? Since I stole yours.
Yeah, so I would have kept the blueberry lemonade if I had remembered that that's what I put the first time. But I didn't. I put a spicy pineapple refresher because I think she's going to need, like, she's obviously running away, so I think she's going to need that like extra boost of caffeine. But I said spicy pineapple because not everybody likes pineapple and not everybody likes the spicy part of the refresher, and she's now spicy because she killed the king. So
that's true.
Yep. Oof. But we have no magical moments today because we didn't really have any new powers. So we're going to move on right to our tour de tome, which is a little special thing we do at the end of each book. We basically go back and reflect on the book and give our ratings of it. The ratings will be given on 6 topics, which are plot, character development, writing style, gut feeling, recommendability, and overall rating. So Keri and I both give out our ratings on these. And just a reminder that gut feeling, because Keri always forgets, gut feeling is how you feel when you close the book after you have read it, the whole thing.
Wow. I didn't ask this time. I just want everyone to know. I've asked every book we've made or done. I have not. I remembered this time. Are we good? Do we want to do 5 out of 5 daggers?
Yes, I saw that and I was like, oh, so perfect.
Okay, perfect. Wow. For Divine Rivals, we did typewriters.
Yep.
Addie LaRue. What did we do for Addie LaRue? I don't remember.
What?
Rings. We did 5 out of 5 rings for Addie LaRue. That was smart.
That was smart.
Look at us. Past Keri and Becca were on top of things.
Oh. We were. Do you want to start with plot?
Let's do it. I did 3.7.
Okay. Why?
I didn't feel like there was a deep plot. And I was okay with that. Like, I didn't think it was a bad thing. I just had to honestly answer that it wasn't a very deep plot. There wasn't a lot going on.
Okay. I put a 3.5 for the same reason. Mostly because I felt like the plot, like, because we got the dual POV, it kind of limited what plot points could be happening. So I think plot in general was a 3.5.
Yeah, I would agree. I think I'm not mad about it.
No.
Right.
No, and yeah, definitely
The
not.
reading doesn't reflect a negative sense. That's just the honesty.
Yes.
Character development?
Yeah. I put it 4.5.
I did 4.
Okay. Why'd you put 4?
I just didn't feel like a 5. Didn't feel like a 5. Maybe I'm getting not soft, hard in my older age.
Getting more critical?
Yeah.
That's so funny. I did a 4.5 mostly because of the last chapters. Like, I just felt like there was so much, like, Kai missing when he threw the dagger was a big one. I think Kai showing Peyton, like, with the nightmares and, like, showing, like, his mask slipping. I think that was a big one. Kit totally changing character, but, like, it was done so well.
Yeah.
That's why it was a 4.5. I didn't put it a 5 because probably for the same reason I gave the plot a 3.5 is, like, I don't know if character development can be that much with not a ton happening. Does that make sense?
I agree. And
How
that's
about writing
probably why
style?
it didn't feel like a 5. Sorry.
Yeah. Yeah, I would agree.
How
How about writing style?
I say 4 because I thought she wrote the tension really well. And
Okay.
just like the banter, she just wrote it really well. I just the dialogue really well.
Okay. Okay.
Would you put?
I put a 3.8.
Why?
So we've talked about this a couple times. For writing style, for me, it's more about, like, the grammatical and the vocabulary that the author uses. And I didn't feel like there was a broad range of vocabulary necessarily because there were so many parallels. I also found a couple grammatical mistakes. And those distract me sometimes. Now, it didn't in this book, but they were there. So,
Interesting.
yeah.
Okay. Gut feeling?
Gut feeling?
We should just answer together. 1, 2, 3, 5.
5. 100%.
100%. I think that's why I didn't ask you what gut feeling was, because I just knew how I felt in my gut
Yes,
after reading this book. 10 out of 10. Recommendability? 5 as well.
I put a 5 too. Why did you say a 5?
Because I would recommend it to pretty much anyone. Like, it's a good intro to fantasy, I would say. And it's clean. And I love the characters, so I think the people would too.
Okay.
What'd you put? Why did you put a 5?
Yeah, I put a 5 for the same reason. I feel like I could recommend it to anybody, and even if they didn't like it, there would be aspects of it that they did. Like, there's the romance and the banter and but also the fantasy elements. Like, I felt like it was a very broad book that was just super fun to read.
Yeah. And if you're like not reading fantasy, I think it's a easy enough world to understand at this point to still enjoy the story. Like, you don't need a lot of world building.
Exactly. Yep, 100%.
Overall rating?
I gave it a 5.
Me too. Just because it made me feel all the things.
So when I first read through it, I gave it a 5 out of 5 stars on Goodreads. And I was like, I always, if I'm rereading a book, I feel like I don't always enjoy it as much the second time. Now that's not the case for everything. I think now that I've definitely gotten into more fantasy books and reading more fantasy, I find that rereading is a lot more fun. But as I was going through this, I think I loved it the first time for the banter, and I loved it the second time for Kai. Just diving into his character was so fun for me. And I don't know. I just I look back on this story and I'm like, ah, I love it. 5 out of 5. 10 out of 10.
You are I really think Kai's your new book boyfriend, even over Zayden Ryerson, at least at this point of your life.
We'll see. I haven't. Zayden and I have not been talking for
since the end of Iron Flame.
Yeah. Since when was it? November?
Yes. So
I think Kai's just new. We also haven't done a deep dive into Fourth Wing, and we probably never will, if we're being honest. That's just not where we're going.
There's so many good podcasts out there.
Yeah, if you guys do want like a good podcast coverage of Fourth Wing, Iron Flame, we have a lot of recommendations for you. So we're happy to send those out too. But
sure.
Yeah, I think, but honestly, I don't know if that's gonna stay.
We'll see.
$2
in January.
$3. No, I mean I don't know if I'm gonna still love Kai.
Oh,
yeah. I mean, why did you give him a 5?
It gave me all the happy feels. I would reread it, and I obviously enjoyed it enough to listen to the audiobook too. So
yeah. So is that what your rating is gonna be on Goodreads?
That's what it is.
If you want to know our Goodreads, I'm not even gonna lie, I have 2 people on my Goodreads right now. So if you guys want our Goodreads, message us, let us know, because
let us know.
We would love to. Anyways, that's besides the point. Thank you so much for listening to us today. If you liked our tour to Tome today, or our potential fan casting, or our deep dives into the parallels, or us dubbing Lauren Roberts the Parallel Queen, please rate and review us and give us a 5 stars and let us know that you liked all those things. If you're watching us on YouTube, please make sure to like this video and subscribe to our channel to get notified of all of our new episodes. Also, the best thing you can do for us or any other podcast you listen to is share us with your friends. We want to be your friends through your reckless read. So please, let us be your friends, because we're moving right on to reckless.
And make sure for more content to follow us on Instagram and TikTok. It is at Tomes and Tropes Pod. Or if you have any thoughts about this episode or these books, we're going to change it to both of them. Email us at tomesandtropespod@gmail.com. I have not read Reckless, so if you have any spoiler conversations you would like to have about Reckless, please make sure to put spoilers or for Becca's eyes only. But yeah, we'd love to hear your thoughts on Powerless, what you thought about the book overall, what you think about the series, and we'll see you next week when we start Reckless.
Stay curious and keep reading.
Bye.
Bye.